What's going on, you guys? This is RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you another video on the latest Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero DLC, which is titled Super Limit Breaking Neo, which in my honest opinion is the most fitting name they could give this expansion, because the game already boasts over 200 playable characters, and they're breaking that limit. The title is definitely changing for the best, and I feel like it's going to change to a point to where it's very similar to a previous TenKaiChi game we've had in the past, and we're going to talk about that today. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys to do me the biggest favor and like this video. Yeah, I know it's a bit annoying getting this request at the very beginning of the video before you watch it in its entirety, but YouTube's algorithm encourages it. So if you rock with your boy and you know I'm going to bring you that awesome content, then smash that like button. But if by any chance you just so happen to be new to this channel and you feel like I wasted 10 minutes of your time that you can't get back, then by all means feel free to retract that like and give it a dislike. Just rate the video. But yeah guys, I'd say we're in a very interesting time for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, because it feels like this game is going to continue to evolve in ways we would have never imagined, and it's all thanks largely in part to the passion that the developers have. And admittedly, I was a bit crucial on them because I felt like they were kind of lagging behind on things that should have been added based on the things that I saw from other games, but I always kept in mind that this was their game. This is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. It's not Dragon Ball Fighters, it's not Kakarot, and it definitely ain't Dragon Ball Xenoverse. This is Sparking Zero, and it is definitely paying homage to its predecessors. Although we don't have an exact date, we know that this expansion is going to be landing in the summer of this year, and it's going to be bringing over 30 plus characters, some of which still haven't been shown off yet, even though they have been briefly teased in some of the trailers. But the marketing has been extremely effective, man. It's like we're going through this process, we're going through this evolutionary stage where we see so many things that we didn't expect the developers to put in, such as costumes that harken back to some of the different eras in Dragon Ball Z that come tailored with their own super moves, which will allow fans to recreate iconic Dragon Ball scenes straight from the shows and movies. This expansion also looks to address certain complaints that we had, such as the lack of PvE modes, by adding the new Limit Breaker Journey mode, where all the players can progress through branching scenarios, fights, and events, and train their characters through battle and earn unique rewards and test the fruits of your labor online, which I'm pretty sure is going to have a lot of people running back to play it, because one thing that I've noticed is that the new survival mode feature that they have has already sparked a lot of people's interest, because it pretty much encourages us to get better at the game and see how far we can progress. And later on, you're going to be able to do that with your Limit Breaker Journey mode character that you've been grinding out. Like, I'm not sure about you guys, but this right here feels very reminiscent to that of the Dragon Arena mode from Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, where it allowed you to level characters up to 300 and maximize their stats, and it didn't allow any difficulty adjustments. It just got harder as you got stronger, so much to the point to where it feels like the AI is reading your inputs and it exploits certain mechanics, which it looks like Spike Chunsoft is going to kind of replicate, except do it in their own way and make things very interesting for the player. So that's definitely going to add more replayability. But something that I've been wanting to talk about is how much emphasis Spike Chunsoft seems to be putting on the whole tag system, which is many players' go-to mode because it actually lengthens the battle compared to those single battles that can be a little bit short depending on the power level and the amount of health bars you have for specific characters. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's just me, but it really seems like Spike Chunsoft is trying to pinpoint things in regards to the tag system, because if you notice, they've been showing off a lot of things in that regard, such as the addition of Team Supers, where you see specific characters perform some of the most cinematic and devastating attacks, and now they're reworking the battle system to make it more faster and brutal with the Chain Blast, which will allow you to perform a blast attack by knocking your opponent in the air and tagging in another character. And as you guys heard me say in my previous video, I was originally taken aback by that because this game already has a solid foundation in regards to its battle system, and even though it's not necessarily a competitive fighting game, it still has a very strong competitive scene, and I would absolutely hate for that solid foundation to suddenly become unstable once they patch in this new update, which is what this game doesn't need. Like, we gotta be real here, this game has had its fair share of issues that have been exploited by more serious players, especially during tournaments, and we are just recovering from these things, and I don't want to see that ruined, because this game is starting to become fun again. But I had to keep in mind that yes, this is something tailored towards the Dragon Ball Z fans, the fans that want to see everything cool that they saw in the show, and they don't necessarily care about balance And I totally get that perspective. I am in that camp as well, but like I said, I do care about things not breaking the foundation, and I'm hoping that this new feature doesn't disrupt that. But moderating aside, as I mentioned earlier, the title of this DLC is called Super Limit Breaking Neo, and since it is harkening back to Sparking Neo, I feel like it's going to go through that stage where the game is going to see some very drastic changes, especially to the tag battle system. And what I'm getting at here is that this game could potentially go back into that well of nostalgia and tap into what we loved about Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi Tag, which is a title that tends to get overlooked because of so many different variables, one of them being the fact that it was a spin-off that wasn't necessarily marketed as strong as the original games, and the other being the platform and overall availability, because unlike the original trilogy that was widely available on the PlayStation 2, Tenkaichi Tag was only available on the PlayStation Portable, which unfortunately many people didn't own, and is one of the reasons why PlayStation doesn't do handhelds anymore. But anyways, Tenkaichi Tag Team is one of those games that we consider a gem and ahead of its time, because there is just so much that they added into this on such a small device that didn't necessarily have as much power as its big brother, the PlayStation 2, where instead of switching back and forth between characters, you could just have all of them on the map in a live co-op format, allowing you to do union moves. It was basically Tenkaichi 3 on steroids. If you got tired of engaging in these 2v2 team battles, you can do the traditional way and go in 1v1, and if you wanted things to be one-sided and you wanted to beat the heck out of a character, you could choose to do that by teaming up with another character and jumping on one character. And this is just my opinion, but I think this game actually handled the fusions better, particularly the fusion dance. I don't count the Potara fusions because we know those are permanent, but yeah, unlike the Sparking games that doesn't necessarily stay accurate to how the fusion dance works, where it's limited to a certain amount of time, this game actually did, because you had the limited fusion time where instead of lasting until the battle ends, they had a time limit and you would defuse, and once you did defuse, the remaining HP would split evenly to the other teammates. And I feel like this battle system should be relevant even today, because there have been so many scenarios within Dragon Ball Z, particularly Dragon Ball Super, that would have fit with this, such as the Tournament of Power, where multiple fighters were on the stage at one time and you could just choose who you wanted to fight. And given how powerful the new technology we have nowadays is compared to the older days, I feel like they can actually add more players. Like, we could potentially see a 3v3, 4v4, or even a 5v5 as opposed to the 2v2s that we were limited to on the PlayStation Portable. And it would serve as the perfect opportunity to iron out some of the wrinkles that they had with the AI, since it wasn't necessarily the best when it came to being in sync with you and you wanted to do some cool team attacks. Yeah, this would be the best time to implement all of these features that I mentioned, because like I said, Tenkaichi Tag Team, it was before its time, but due to limited hardware capabilities, they couldn't do as much as they wanted to, but now they absolutely can, since they're focusing on all these different team combat elements such as the Team Supers and the Chain Blast. But with all that said, I think it's only right that I turn it over to you guys. What do you think about these ideas? Do you feel like Spike Chunsoft's heavy emphasis on tag components in the battle could lead to them actually implementing Tenkaichi Tag Team's battle system? Or do you feel like I'm just reaching with this and it'll never see the light of day in Sparking Zero? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. As a successful YouTube user, I often get questions asking what I use to get my videos tons of views. And the answer to that is TubeBuddy. This thing has helped me take my channel to the next level in ways I never imagined. It's a browser extension that helps new and experienced YouTubers grow fast and optimize their channels. I've been using this extension for years and it's constantly getting updated with new features, like the SEO tool that helps me come up with the perfect title, description, and tags to get more people to click on my videos. It even provides you with analytics beside your videos to see how much traffic your video is generating from various social media sites. The extension is absolutely free, but as a special offer, we're giving a 50% discount for channels that have less than 1,000 subscribers that purchase the Pro upgrade. All you have to do is enter in the code RisingStarBuddy. So if you're interested in starting a YouTube channel or taking your content to the next level, download the extension now. You can do so by clicking on this link that'll be provided in the description of this video.